How to fix Rutgers basketball? And no, it's not NIL. Okay, needless to say, let's get into it. Needless to say, this has been an unbelievably disappointing season for Rutgers basketball, to say the very least. There were expectations that we were going to be at least a Sweet 16 team, maybe Elite 8. Many had us as an Elite 8 team because of two potential top 5 NBA lottery picks in Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. Just goes to show you, even experts get it wrong quite a bit. Sometimes, a lot of times, it can't see the forest through the trees. We were ranked number 21 preseason. Didn't even play a game, and we were ranked. Been through this before. Was always skeptical about us even getting to a round of 32 for reasons I've gone over and over and over the past year. Transforming identity from defense, grit, determination, and rebounding towards a more offensive style, ISO guys, ball dominant kind of guys. Would we be able to integrate the two styles together? Upgrade the offense while still playing defense, which we had some success with. I thought a reasonable expectation for us this year would be about 18-13, maybe winning a tournament game. Getting to the round of 32 would be a step. We were 14-17 last year, but losing Mawat down the stretch definitely hurt, and we'll get to that in a second. So, a 5-game improvement, trying to get all the pieces and the puzzles together and organizing a strategy and philosophy that would work, that was going to be key. Look, landing Dylan and Ace was a coup. They took the chance on us. It's not often you get two top 5 recruits. But it was a coup from a marketing and hype standpoint. I've said this over and over. And for our future prospects to continue to have a pipeline of elite players. We haven't had that kind of success recruiting or otherwise. And it was hoped to be a springboard. And, I've always said this, being in the New York City, North Jersey area, metro area, it should be a really good program all the time with the basketball talent that we have in this part of the country. And to fill a starting 5 with winning players, honestly, shouldn't be that hard. We should be competitive always. Alas, this is not to be. Last year was supposed to be a springboard. We were 14-17. We lost 6 out of the last 7. 6 out of the last 7. Ironically, the one game that we win is down the stretch is against Michigan. Boy, what we'd do to switch places with them this year. We wind up 14-17. We lose Mawat's defense. We should have seen this coming last year when he missed those games. That we were going to struggle defensively. Now, there's something to be said there. We didn't have the depth to fill in for Mawat. He's got to be the most valuable 9.4 rebound guy ever. He's only 5 points, 2 rebounds this year with BYU, but that's another story. We go 4-3 or 5-2 down the stretch. We're 17-14. We're 18-13. Win a tournament game. That's where we should have been. Hoped where we'd be, and that would have set up the path forward to taking the next step with a great top 5 recruiting class. At least, potentially a springboard. Who knows? I mean, if we were 17, 14, 18, 13, we win some tournament games, would Mawan Cliff have stayed? It's the money of NIL. There's the issue of NIL. You don't know. Cliff got paid at Alabama, but that's another story for another day. There was concern by those who follow the program, root for the program, alumni, cover the program, about getting a center. That's legitimate. Yes, we had Lathan. Some said quietly, out of all our recruits, he had the most upside, the most growth potential. Agboli is what he is, though physically developed to be able to be, that nose tackle, be that rim protector. He isn't that guy. Zach Martini, to me, this was always a laughable assumption, a laughable idea. I mean, are you kidding me? Zach Martini be able to play the 5 position, a finesse 3-point shooter from the Ivy League. You were hoping can fill some minutes at the 5 position. It was ridiculous to even entertain that. No, I like the idea of his, we needed 3-point shooting in him and PJ Hayes around 40%. Boy, that would be, that would be a bonus for us and a weakness that we needed to fill. I mean, that's almost double J Mike's 3-point shooting percentage. But we can get by with Zach and PJ, filling somewhat the Cam Spencer role. Boy, there's another guy that we lost that had we kept or been able to keep, probably would have made a difference. And then we had Tyson Acuff and his scoring. I mean, he was a 22-point per game guy at Eastern Michigan, shot 43%. Now he's averaging 5 points per game at 38%. We get Jordan Durkak, who went from a 17.6 rebound, 4 assist guy, shooting 47%. But now he's averaging 5.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 1.7 assists, and a 36% shooter. So what happened? Talked about this a lot. People focus on the stars. We're in the New York metropolitan area. People are going to face... They're going to focus on Ace and Dylan. What's wrong with the rest of the team? We had enough pieces to win, with the exception of a rim protector. But even if you had a rim protector, say you had Cliff, how many games will that one guy make a difference? 3, 4, 17 and 14? We take that at this point, because if you go on a run, you have some opportunities to get to the big dance. But as I've said from the very beginning, going back before the season started, during the summer, recruiting rankings don't matter. execution does. Football and basketball. Our football recruiting class is getting better every year. Yay, we're around number 25, number 30. We're still a 7-16. Talked about this a lot. Coach Shiano's scheme doesn't matter. Culture does. You need both. But 2019, we had the number 89 class in the country. We were 20-11. Who wouldn't take that now? I mean, 20-11 this year, we'd take it and we'd all be, yay, let's go. But I think people would have expected a better season than 2011 with 2 top 5 recruits. But we'd take that. Switching gears would be hard, evolving toward a modern offense and NIL era. So what to do? Where did we go wrong? Did we, as I think it was Politi wrote a story, did we fail Ace and Dillon? I did my blurb on that. Not going to get into it. Is it NIL? Oh, especially the young guys out there. Oh, it's NIL. It's NIL. Not having a GM? Yeah, no. You heard it here first. It's none of those things. I mean, what did Ace and Dillon make? 1.7 million? I mean, it's not the Yankees. I think people, the New York metro area is a professional sports marketplace. And people look at filling rosters like it's fantasy football or the Yankees. You just keep spending money every year. But we see how well that's worked. They have 1 championship in 25 years. And if it wasn't for Matsui, they wouldn't have that. It's not just about spending money. I could hear it now. I could hear the screaming. Oh, you're just an OG. You're like Steve Peichel. You can't evolve with the times. You don't understand NIL and modern basketball. Steve Peichel has to adapt. Here's the answer. Steve Peichel adapted too much. He totally changed the style of play, and it didn't work out. The number one answer to improving Rutgers basketball, it's not meetings, it's not hiring a GM, it's not spending more in NIL. Here's the word. You ready? Defense. That's all it is. Play defense. Play the style of ball that you're accustomed to playing without totally changing your trajectory. This year, 3 top defensive teams. Houston, number 1. They're top 5 every year. Not to mention they're ranked every year. Ranked in the top 10. St. John's, number 6 in the country. And Duke is number 3. Tennessee and Maryland, who we played, also in the top 10. Steve Peichel adapted too much to stay up with the times regarding the style of play you have to play, or conventional wisdom is you have to play in a modern NCAA basketball era. Last year, in defensive efficiency, we were number 8 with losing Mag. If he was still there, we have a winning record, we win some tournament games, a totally different year. But that's another story to talk about not having the depth necessary. Want to get on him for not having layers of guys that can step in right away and play defense? Okay. 2022-23, 19-15 winning record. We were number 5 in defensive efficiency. (2019 and 20), we were 20-11. That was our best year. We were ranked number 17 in defensive efficiency. And that 20-11 class was ranked 89th in the country. 89th. We had no Ace Bailey. We had no Dylan Harper. A little bit of a disappointing ending. Nonetheless, we kind of slid back a little bit after that year, but we at least continued to play winning ball. We were 16-12 and 20-21. No, it was a weird year. We were ranked number 97. Year after that, still had a winning record, 18-14. We were ranked 127. And then the past 2 years, we stepped it up. Top 10 in defensive efficiency. Anybody want to guess where we are this year? If you guessed, I could hear it now. Maybe 150, something like that. You'd be wrong. 366th in the country in defensive efficiency. Are you kidding me? From number 8 to number 366. No, it's not Ace and Dylan not having a supporting cast. No, it's not NIL. Yes, it's recruiting players that play your system. So the answer is get back to recruiting to your strengths. Recruit defense. We have no one, including Ace and Dylan. We are one-dimensional. We have a couple Carmelo Anthonys on the team. Yeah, the box score looks good at the end of the day. It doesn't make your teams better and you don't win. Well, look, Syracuse won a national championship. Before you say that I'm crazy, let's take a look at Rick Pitino and St. John's. They're ranked number 6 in the country, and they're number 2 in defensive efficiency this year. It's not a surprise that they're ranked number 6 and have a good shot at getting to the Final Four. They're having the kind of season, the kind of program that we should have been enjoying. After losing last year to Seton Hall at home, and they get knocked out of the tournament despite a pretty good record, Pitino was not happy and he ripped into his team. And here's what he had to say about his team last year and why they weren't able to win the big games when they had to. And this is his quote: we recruited the antithesis of the way he coaches, which is the way he coaches is with speed, quickness, fundamentals, strength, and toughness. He said about last year's group, it's a good group. They try hard, but they're just not very tough. And he said about last year's team, the tough thing is teaching 12 or 13 guys who are all the best offensive players, and then they don't know how to play defense. They're all really good offensive players, can't guard anybody. We saw that against Purdue. I mean, it was pretty much just catch and shoot. To finish his quote, he said, so they're all good offensive players, but their forte is not defense. So, we know Rick Pitino has national championships. 16 seasons at Louisville. They were ranked top 10 nationally and adjusted defensive efficiently 10 times, including number 1 3 times. His last team at Kentucky was ranked number 1. His 3 teams at Iona ranked first or second in the Metro Athletic Conference in defensive efficiency every year. Tino goes on to say, when we took the job, we tried to take the best players available. Check as many boxes. Those guys were terrific, but they didn't check enough boxes. We had our deficiencies defensively, and as we were going throughout the year, he said we had to address those deficiencies. We have to address our defensive deficiencies. I don't care what the box score looks like at the end of the night. They go down to Houston in the offseason to watch Kelvin Sampson's team for a few days. Get some ideas, get some things they could take away to tweak their team from one of the, it's not even arguable, one of the best defensive in basketball every year. And this is what they came away with: length and athleticism. They said these are two of the most important things they had to identify in the portal. And I mean, it makes sense. You take a page out of Coach Schiano, who's getting more length and more athleticism, whether at wide receiver, whether at corner. And the other thing was, St. John's wanted to find guys that can play tough and play physical. So we need to find guys that can play tough and physical in the Big Ten, especially in the paint. We know about our issues there. It's really not rocket science. Now, you have to decide, you're going to go, maybe low majors are not the way to go. Mid to high majors, guys that play against top teams that could physically stand up to the demands, that's the way to go, even if they're not a $2 million a year player. And Pitino said the quiet part out loud, which I've kind of been saying, that players, when they now with NIL in a short window, they think that the skills and offense is going to get them where they want to go. That was his quote. And it's true. If you just want to showcase your skills in these all-star games, get your one and done year in so you can show off your skills to NBA front offices, you're not a well-rounded player. You're not playing both ends of the floor. Tino goes on to say, and his quote is, he convinced his team that if you want to showcase your skills, winning is the only thing that does that. I don't know if that's true. Some front office guy will take a chance on skill and development and hope that these guys, give them a couple of years to develop after they're one and done. But Pitino said he used the metaphor of Broadway. It's, if you want your star to shine on Broadway, you're going to have to win. And winning means not just having the skill level, it means having to play both ends of the floor. And that's exactly right. In the day of all-star games, NIL, hype, recruiting ranking services, yada, 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 players definitely want to show their offensive skills. If you're that defensive guy who's going to lock down your opponent, you're not the one that's going to be a top 5, top 10 ranked guy. So in going after changing our philosophy and going after Ace and Dillon, we got what we asked for and we got what we deserved. It's not all their fault. Said this a lot. Coaching staff failed them. They failed to put them in positions to win. We should have gotten better defensively by the end of the year. You needed to coach that into them. So, Coach, although you belong on the hot seat, I mean, we're into this one. Now, 7 years, come on. I mean, we got to stop crawling and start taking leaps. That being said, ignore the naysayers about, I think NIL money is the magic potion. You're going to have a guy, bring in some guys, some rich guys to give you some money, and that's going to solve all our problems. You heard it here first. It won't. Dillon and Ace get just under $2 million. By the way, why are they getting free tuition and room and board and meals, computer fees and this fee and that and all that? That's a video for another day. I've gone into that a little bit. No, in the New York City market, everybody's answer is to be the Yankees. Just throw money at the problem. Go get guys that will allow you to play how you want to play. You could have it both ways. Tough, gritty, determined, athletic, long guys. And hopefully among that group, we have a couple guys that can shoot. Don't have to be Cam Spencer. That could shoot well enough to be able to have a balanced attack on both ends of the floor. That's it. There's no secret sauce. There's no mystery. I like our young guys. Dylan Grant needs to be pushed along some more. He needs to start, well, I mean, we're at the end now, but there were concerns about him early on, his unorthodox shooting style. It's like having a really long throwing motion as a quarterback in football. His shot takes a long time to develop. But he can play some defense. Lathan needs to be more efficient outside the lane and be taught better defense. I think he can evolve into a guy that's more well-rounded. Bryce Dortch actually has the length, athleticism, and defense that we should be looking for. Let's go. Play like Houston or St. John's. It shouldn't take 7 years to build a team in the New York City, North Jersey metro area, Philadelphia area. It's there for us. People talk about athletes, play within yourself. Don't chase after it. Coach, don't chase after it. Don't chase after trying to be an offensive juggernaut when it's outside your personality and the way you coach, just like Coach Pitino said. Let's learn some lessons there. Let's go out and play the kind of games, find the kind of guys that can win us games and make the rack great again. And play lockdown defense to the point where teams don't want to come in to play there. Let's get going. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see what happens against Minnesota.